Well, both my parents, they met in a rock band. My dad played guitar and bass, my mom sang violin, keyboards, but they, you know, there weren't any drummers in the family. And my dad tried desperately to get me to be a guitar player. That was my first instrument when I was like 3 years old or whatever. And I liked performing, I liked, you know, being a ham. But, you know, it's the same old story. It's the knives at the dinner table, and it's the, you know, hands in class getting told to shut up and all that sort of stuff. And it came in handy when there were family gatherings, because when I was super young, you know, my Uncle Larry was the one who got me my first drum set, because he could see, like, you know, I'd be in diapers and everybody'd be singing and playing guitar at Thanksgiving. He'd hear this tambourine come out of nowhere, like a bongo, and he'd be like, you know, somebody's actually keeping time somehow. And it turned out it was me. So it was kind of a natural thing, and, you know, it's like the instrument chooses you. And I got my first drum set when I was 9 years old, and from my Uncle Larry. Was in the school band starting in 8th grade, did that whole thing. Joined jazz band when I was in middle school, did that all the way up through high school and into college. And so I went to New England Conservatory for 4 years, and yeah, so that, and New England Conservatory is also where the band met. Lake Street Dive was a total brainchild of Mike Olson, who we call McDuck in the band. And he was a buddy of mine from, we lived on the same floor in the dorm. And Mike was one of these guys who, you know, he came to New England Conservatory because everybody who's hanging there wants to form a band, and everybody who's hanging there was like always asking different people to jam, and everybody's always up for it. And he was a composition major, so it sort of worked out. He had that, you know, composer mindset. He's like, let me put a band together. And so the end of our freshman year, he was a transfer student and a little older, but he got us in a room all together and already had the name of the band, Lake Street Dive. It was like written on a chalkboard. And he was like, okay, so, you know, Lake Street Dive, Lake Street is in Minneapolis, where I'm from. It's this like strip of seedy bars, and they get, you know, tons of, you know, country bands and rock bands and soul bands and all kinds of stuff. And I want our band to be a band that would play a dive that you would find on Lake Street, but the twist is that because we're in jazz school, we had to be cool. And so it was going to be an avant-garde country band, what he called a free country band. So we were going to play like, you know, Loretta Lynn tunes. His heart was in the right place. It's a cool concept, but we were absolutely terrible. And the songs never really worked, and we didn't really even gel as musicians. We were all very specific players in our own way, and it didn't come together at first. But the thing about it that was cool was that it was easy to hang with one another. It was easy to talk about ideas. It was easy to, you know, everybody was up for doing what we were doing. So it was never hard to get together. It was always fun. We'd eat snacks, we'd play crappy songs, and, you know, that's what pretty much sustained us for the first couple of years when we didn't have a sound. And so, you know, that was the spirit in which it started. And then we were like, let's play backbeats maybe, and like write 3-minute songs and hooks instead of gibberish, musical gibberish. We had recorded an album called Fun Machine, mostly covers, and we were sort of floating. We were, you know, working on getting a booking agent, and you know, we weren't getting as busy as we would have liked to, and we released it at a time when, you know, I think it was like 2010, and you know, we were just, our label, Signature Sounds at the time, was like, you know, just put something out and do this, like maybe it'll find some appeal that way. We did all these promo videos for it, like we always did. And this time we utilized our friend Greg List. And Greg was just like, you know what, just do one more take, try I Want You Back, your version of it, and, you know, and then we'll call it a day. Because we weren't really feeling it up until that point.
Oh, oh, baby, give me one more chance. Won't you please? Let me back in your heart now. Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go. Now that I've seen you in his arms, yeah, well, trying to live without your love is a one long sleepless night.
And we did it, and we thought nothing of it, really. He was going over the footage and editing it down, and he was like, guys, I really think I Want You Back is like the best take of all the songs you did. And we were like, all right, you know, we have a bunch of these. We can release them in different orders. Let's just release that one first. And we released it, and it just sat on YouTube for a couple months. Then we go into the studio in Maine to record Bad Self-Portraits later that year. There's zero cell phone service. We're not checking Twitter, we're not checking YouTube, we're not checking anything. And we do like, I don't know, 2 weeks, and we come out of there and our phones start blowing up, like once we hit the highway out of Maine. And it was like, you know, texts from people, and like our Twitter push notifications started like going up, and we were like, what's going on? And we checked it out, and Kevin Bacon had found it somehow and tweeted it. He probably found it on a blog of some sort. A bunch of people put it up on their blogs. It wound up on World Star Hip Hop for some reason. But, you know, it was like it was his celebrity tweet, I guess you would say, that kind of disseminated it, like gave it a push off of the blog foundation. And then from there, it kind of went viral. Within a month, it was almost at 1 million views. Then we get out and do a bunch of these headlining shows, and every night at the merchandise table, people come up, be like, I saw your I Want You Back video, I saw your I Want You Back video, you know. And that's how it got its preliminary push. And, you know, we have a debt of gratitude for YouTube for, you know, being a free service as it is, and it was definitely the first whiff of social media financial help for us, you know, and it kept us going that entire year. Then we released Bad Self-Portraits and toured on it another year with even, you know, now that we had original music, it had even more, you know, people coming to shows and stuff like that. So it worked out. It was pretty great. when I got my first drum set, it was the first time anyone had ever given me a pair of sticks that like wasn't supplied by the school district or something like that. You would take home and have to sign out and practice it, you know, or whatever. So he brought the drum kit over, and he handed me a pair of Vic Firth 5As. So that was my first pair of sticks on my own drum set ever. I probably used the same pair of sticks for a year, even in my nascent stages as a slammer, before I learned what subtlety was and dynamics. But it was kind of like imprinting, you know, like I still, it's like your first anything. You're kind of like, that'll always have a special place in your heart. Just so happens to be the best sticks that I've ever played, which is great, you know. It's like my dad always said to me, especially when I was, you know, started playing music. He was like, I don't care what you do, just do it the best you can. You know, don't cut corners. Master what you like. Because that's the thing. I mean, I don't play too hard, but I get about 10 pair for a month of touring, and I've never gone through more than 3 pairs of sticks in the course of a tour, and that's playing 20 shows. So they're so great. They're just wonderful, and I get bored very easily. So the selection is really awesome to have. You know, there's a long stick that's heavy and pingy, and there's a long stick that's really light and warm, and then there's a short stick that has a mallet on the end of it. You know, it has like, they've thought of it all, and so it's just like, I always know if I need something, they've got it.
Thank you very much.